morning, beautiful people. Welcome to yet another episode of the Younib Breakfast Show with me, Peninah Wachera. I hope you guys have woken up well and are excited to face your day. For me, I am really, really excited, and I'm looking forward to the conversation we're about to have today. Yeah, as it is the norm here at the Younib Breakfast Show. Let's go straight to the morning bite of the day. Today's topic is illness and mental health. Whether it's a chronic condition, a sudden diagnosis, or caring for someone who is unwell, illness doesn't just affect the body, it touches the mind, the heart, and every part of our lives. We'll be diving into the emotional and psychological impact of illness, how to cope, and most importantly, how we can better support ourselves and those we love. We'll be joined by our very own therapist who will help us to unpack these layers with compassion and clarity. Remember, this show is proudly brought to you by Miss Ashan and Younib organization, and we're trying to reach out to the community to teach you on matters mental health. So if you need any psychological help, you can always call the number 0700-352-250, and our very own psychologist will be able to help you out here. Remember, you can also interact with us or even suggest topics that you want us to discuss through the number 0719-144-144, and also through our social media platform, Younib_TV on Instagram, Younib Media TV on Facebook, and there's a number on your screen. You can SMS or WhatsApp 0719-144-144. Yeah, so allow me to welcome to you the guest of the day. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you guys feeling today?
Well, I'm well. I'm very excited for today. Feels like the day is off to a good start.
Okay.
I don't feel very well, but I believe I can handle the discussion of the day. Yes.
Okay, we hope that you'll feel better soon, yeah? Okay, so kindly look at the cameras, guys, and tell us who you are and what you do here. Tuanze hapa.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Mutembei Muthami. I'm a psychologist with Psychosocial Support Center, and we're here in partnership with Younib TV to bring to you these amazing shows and community programs that are based that revolve around mental health. This means that we talk about the things that we don't like to talk about. We talk about the important conversations that we need to be having so that we are okay as ourselves and okay as a collective society.
Awesome.
Okay, my name is Valentine Ndiwa. I am working with Younib as well as Mutembei here and another counselor whom you always see in your screen. So what we are doing basically is trying to reach out to the community members and teaching them on ways that they can take care of their mental well-being and also the mental well-being of their loved one. So we are really happy and excited to help you, especially the people who are within Jiru area. Yeah.
Okay, and karibuni sana, and we are really excited to learn more about this conversation, yeah? So to start off, how would you define the relationship between physical illness and mental health, Mutembei?
It's a very close interplay between mental health and the physical health. I say this because in the event that your physical health is not the best, you'll find that this might give you emotional distress, which means that you're not able to cope with your emotions well. You're not able to process just everything around you clearly because you as a person are not doing well. But also, in the event that your mental health is also not okay, you'll find that some symptoms that you might have are going to be exacerbated because you are not well as a person. So you'll find that in the event that I'm very anxious, you'll find that nitaanza kusweat na kumbe nilikuwa na fever. So, it becomes worse. So, we are focusing on one area of the health aspect. That is, if you focus too much on the physical and neglect the mental, you find that that's a problem. But also, if you focus too much on the mental and not focus on the physical, we are not going to be okay at the end of the day. So it's a very close and delicate interplay between the two.
Okay. I hope you're following up here. And Valentine, why is it important to address mental health when somebody is dealing with a chronic or life-threatening illness?
Okay, that's a very good question. But before I answer that, I would like to relate what Mutembei has said. As a human being, when we look at wellness or health, health basically means that you are well as a person. And when it comes to wellness as a person, in order for you to function as a complete person, there are certain aspects of health that usually come into play. This would include your social health, your physical health, also your psychological health. In other times, we usually look at how your spiritual health is. And in this, we can also extend to financial health also. Financial, this is in the case whereby that involves money and you being able to take care of your physical needs as a person. So if one of these areas is affected, the part that usually gets affected mostly is your mind, in terms of how you're going to behave, in terms of how you're going to think, in terms of how you're going to do certain activities such as sleeping, eating, and even being close with other people. So when somebody is sick, especially if somebody is chronically ill, it's very, very important that this person gets psychological help. I would like to congratulate most of our their physical facilities, such as the hospitals that usually care for our physical needs, especially when we are sick. Some of the hospitals have really come to embrace the aspect of mental well-being of individuals, and that's why you're finding professionals like us working in hospitals to ensure that as much as somebody is struggling physically, we are aware that these people are usually affected mentally. So when this person is affected mentally, there is always this person who is coming to check up on them and know where they are in the area of their emotional well-being as well as their psychological well-being. And if that person keeps on coming, you'll even find that the recovery process of this particular person is being fastened, because this person is coming to give hope to this person is coming to know the emotions of this person. And when this person is coming, when the professional is coming, it means that this person who is not feeling well would feel that sense of being valued and being cared for. So you find that even the healing process is fastened. In some extreme conditions, maybe somebody is suffering with stage 5, is it stage 5 of cancer? Stage 4 of cancer, you find that maybe you have a professional help who is even going to help you accept certain concepts like death, and they're even preparing patients, those who cannot recover, preparing them to accept that there is something like death, because all of us do fear death. Most of us do fear death. So if there is somebody who's coming to prepare us, if there is somebody who's coming to take care of our emotional need, we will start feeling appreciated. So it's very, very important to receive that psychological help, because physical illness usually come with a lot of emotions, like Mutembei has said. Remember when we were beginning the show, I said I'm unwell. So of course, if you are unwell, you feel sad, you are feeling like maybe things are not going correct in your life. So in your mind, you will start wondering a lot. What if you have this person who is there to tell you it's okay? Sometimes our bodies do feel unwell. Whatever you're feeling is normal. You as a person end up feeling like, yeah, I'm valued. Yes.
Okay, interesting. And I hope we are getting to learn more about illness and mental health. Yeah, and that takes me to the question of the day. So today's question is, have you or someone close to you ever faced a serious illness that affected your mental or emotional well-being? How did you cope, and what support made the biggest difference? Valentine has just said that it's important to have support. So I'd like to know from you about the question of the day. So remember to interact with with us through our social media platform, Younib_TV on Instagram, Younib_TV on Facebook, and there's a number on your screen. You can SMS or WhatsApp 0719-144-144. And if you need any mental health help, you can always call the number 0700-352-250, and our very own therapist, who you can see around, will be able to help you out here. For now, let's take this short break and we'll be back with more. Welcome back. This is still the Uni Breakfast Show with me, Peninah Wachera, and I'll just go straight to sampling some of your messages. So someone says, yes, my mom battled cancer for 2 years. Watching her struggle physically broke me emotionally. I started therapy during that time, and honestly, talking to someone outside the family helped me stay strong for her. Support groups are also a huge source of comfort. Okay. Someone else says, I took care of my dad after his stroke. The mental toll was heavy. I was overwhelmed, irritable, and even felt guilty for feeling tired. What helped most was when a friend stepped in and offered to give me a day off every week. That small gesture saved me. Someone says, when I was diagnosed with lupus, no one around me seemed to understand. I isolated myself, and honestly, my mental health got worse. What helped me eventually was finding an online community of people living with the same condition. I didn't feel so alone anymore. I'll sample the last one. My sister was sick for months with a mysterious illness. It was emotionally draining, especially with no answers. My faith really helped me cope. I leaned heavily on prayer and my church family. Their emotional support and presence made all the difference. Thank you so much for sharing. Continue sharing your feedback, or also telling us about the time that you really faced a serious illness, or somebody close to you faced a serious illness, how it affected your mental health or emotional well-being, and how did you cope, and what support made the biggest difference. Yeah, thank you so much for all people who have been able to interact with us. Continue just sending the comments in. Yeah, so going back to the conversation, or even before we go back to the conversation, do you guys have anything to say or any comment about this specific feedback?
I have Wow. I think there is something that I can say. For that person who said support, at least the person got support from the family. And support is very, very important, especially for people who are struggling with chronic illnesses. Sometimes even when you talk about mental health, most of these conditions are not curable as per the diagnosis and as per the treatment that we have.
Yeah.
We usually say that it's a lifelong disease, whereby if you manage them well, you'll be able to live like the other people when you manage this condition. So conditions such as mental health, if you have a good support system, if you have a good therapist, if your work environment understands you, then it means as a person you'll be able to live very well in the society. And sometimes, it's not a good place to be when you are sick, because you are not used to being sick. Then all of a sudden, maybe you've been diagnosed by, somebody said, lupus, which is an autoimmune disease. All of a sudden, your life is just shifting and turning towards a strange direction that probably you are not used to. So it's because of the fact that it's a new thing that is happening in your life, you'll tend to feel a lot of confusion, a lot of sadness. Sometimes people will question God, like, why did this have to happen to me? So it's very, very important for people to have that support. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for the comment you have just given, and I hope this is helpful to our viewers, and it's helping them mostly when it comes to the conversation about mental health and illness. So Mutembei, how does prolonged illness really affect a person's self-esteem or sense of identity?
When we talk about a long-term illness, my mind goes to, diseases that they're not curable. Because if they were curable, that means it wouldn't be a long-term illness. What it does to you as a person, it shifts your identity, just as you've mentioned, because now you have to adjust to lifestyle practices. Maybe you used to take a lot of sugar, now you have to cut back on the sugar. So over time you'll find that that's changed. And I do get it. Sometimes we do have discipline because we want to eat healthy, we want to engage in activities that are building ourselves, but we do have some cheat days once in a while. Unaenda KFC yako proper. But now you see, with these long-term illnesses, you have to be very conscious of what you ingest, how you spend your time, the way you move your body. So it definitely has a toll on you in regards to your mental health, because you are not born with a long-term disease, which means you have to shift as a person. And sometimes change can be very tricky. Everybody wants to maintain the same routine that they have. Now imagine you have to go see a doctor every few weeks. You have to cut your hair because your hair is falling out. Just simply navigating that without a support system can be very, very tricky. And it's definitely going to affect your mental health if you do not address it, if you don't have a close circle of people around you.
Okay, and then it means it's actually kind of sad, because again, you have to really live whatever you're used to, and it's never easy, honestly. It's never easy, and I'm just remembering the feedback we've been given, and you can see all of them had something to say about it's a change that affects them completely, So Valentine, there's something called illness grief. Please let us know what this concept is all about.
Okay, since I said that you're not used to being sick, and then all of a sudden sickness comes, remember, it's a new thing that is happening in your body, and because it's coming with a lot of emotion, you as a person, in that state of confusion, in that state of fear, and sometimes there are those people who go to the extent of denying, like, the diagnosis, and then you keep on going to different hospitals to make sure that, hoping that it's not correct, but it turns out now that honestly that is the condition that you are, you are struggling with. So since it's not very easy, you might find people grieving. Grieving usually comes after loss. And this loss in most cases doesn't have to be the loss of maybe a loved one. The fact that you have been sick, like the way Mutembei has said, maybe I've been diagnosed with a condition like diabetes.
Yeah.
And then maybe I was used to taking cakes and sugars and everything.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, the doctor is like, don't take this. I'm used to taking sugar. I'm used to maybe to running around. This is for a person who maybe has a heart condition. You know, if you have a heart condition, you'll not be able to run around like the way other people usually run around. And then the doctor says, no, you cannot do this. So it affects you as a person. And you usually pass in those stages before you come to the stage of accepting that really, this is what has happened in my life. You go through a lot. You go through a lot of questioning. The questions that you yourself cannot answer. So before you reach that stage of accepting that really, yes, I am sick and I need to adjust my life, that period of you navigating around life and trying to accept that it's the grieving period that comes with a lot of bargaining. It comes with a lot of denial, like I have said, or there are people who said, why is it me and not the other person? So that moment whereby you are questioning, that moment that you are not accepting that really I'm struggling with this condition, is that period where you are grieving because you have lost the health, the wellness that you have lost. And when you lose something, the fact that you are not going to have that thing in that particular moment is what makes you as a person grieve. It's what grieving comes with a lot of emotions. There are those who are angry. There are those who become even afraid of maybe doing certain activities as they are navigating through the grieving period. And I believe that's why we've said it's very, very important to have a good supportive system and even seek professional help to help you during this time of grieving, so that you can come to the stage of accepting that this is what has happened. It may get better or may not get better. So there are certain things that I need to adjust so that I can live my life comfortably with this condition. Yeah.
Okay. I hope we have gotten to understand the concept of illness grief. Yeah. So Mutembei, as we were sampling the feedback, we've seen a lot of people saying, okay, I went through the most when my dad or my mother was ill or was diagnosed by illness. So what I want to know now is, how does a person's illness really affect the mental health of their loved ones or caregivers?
Okay. I'm pretty sure we've all had the opportunity to nurse somebody who was not feeling well. So I can know for a fact that it can be very exhausting, simply because you don't see the physical change. You don't see them getting better. You know, it's a process, and it's usually a very delicate process because you have to offer yourself to them. You have to show up for them in a way that makes them feel like they are seen and they are taken care of, and that can be exhausting on yourself as an individual. You will find that most caregivers, they'll face burnout. They'll get that compassion fatigue. You know, you care for somebody for so long, but you even get tired of caring, and then you remember that you also have a life of your own. So you also need to do your things. You also need to take care of yourself. And that could also come with guilt or shame, because you're like, I know that my mom or my dad is sick, but I have a life. So you will find that it's that whole distress, that emotional distress, but I want to take care of you, but I also want to take care of me, comes with the shame, comes with the guilt. It becomes a very tiring experience, simply because you really want to give your best, but you feel like the best is not the best, because at the end of the day, hatuoni akikuwa salama. So yes, this takes me back to insisting that even as a caregiver, you also need to make sure that you're taking time to take care of yourself. We cannot take care of people if we ourselves are not doing okay. So to the caregivers, you also need a caregiver.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. And as we think about that, if you've gotten yourself as a caregiver, or you're a caregiver at the moment, it's good for you to just take time for yourself. Yeah. Let's think about that. And as we take this short break, and we'll be back with more. Welcome back. This is still the Younib Breakfast Show, and before the break we have been taught, or we have talked about illness and mental health. We've gotten to understand what is illness, grief. We've gotten also to understand that it is important as a caregiver, is important for you to take a rest so that you can be able to care for everyone else. Yeah. Remember, this show is proudly brought to you by Miss Ashan and Younib organization, and we're trying to reach out to the community to teach you on matters mental health. So if you need any psychological help, you can always call the number 0700-352-250, and our very own psychologist will be able to help you out. If you want to interact with us, you can do so through our social media platforms, Younib_TV on Instagram, Younib Media TV on Facebook, and there's a number on your screen. You can SMS or WhatsApp 0719-144-144. Yeah. So coming back to the conversation, Valentine, what are some of the coping strategies that you can recommend for people struggling mentally due to physical illnesses?
Okay, it's a very, very good question, and I believe part of the answer is what we have been talking about, like finding a support system. And this support system could be your friend, it could be your family members, it also could be maybe your church people. So it involves a lot of things. Kwa sababu ukiwa mgonjwa, and then people, maybe if the people from the church are coming, they are coming to see you, or they are coming to pray for you, or to give you words of encouragement, even you as a person, you'd feel like, despite me feeling the way I'm feeling, there is somebody out there who is caring for me. And if you are not feeling well and you are able to move around, I would advise that find a place where you can just go and unwind. Maybe if it's a forest, this is for the sake of those people who love nature. You can walk to a forest, or you can tell somebody to take you if you're not able to. Maybe somebody can take you maybe to the shore, then you watch the waves and the tides and all those things in the ocean. You can tell somebody to take you to a park. You can tell somebody to just take you to a place that will stop you as a person thinking all the time that I am sick. Because most of the time, if for those people who are struggling with illnesses, you'll find that the mind will always keep on telling them you are sick, so you cannot do anything. So there is a lot of negative talk that usually come when a person is not feeling very well. So to get to a place where you can distract your mind from thinking negative, it means that you will be able to feel a bit better. You may not be better, but you may feel a bit better. So you find a good support system. And then also another thing, maybe you can keep on watching things that psych you up. You can also take time to learn about maybe the disease that you are struggling with. So this will help you as a person to know the certain things that you need to avoid, and even the things that you need to do so that you can improve that condition that maybe you are struggling with. So having that knowledge, equipping yourself with other people, watching things that are giving you that positive energy, that are motivating you to become a better person, it means that it will shift your mind from concentrating and thinking so much on the negative thing.
Okay, so that is how you can be able to cope from this. So Mutembei, my question is, why do you think that some patients self-isolate, and how can we encourage them not to do that, and how does it even affect them when they self-isolate?
Sometimes you'll find that patients are going to self-isolate simply because they feel like whatever it is that they're going through is way too much for the people around them. They could be isolating because they don't understand and they don't want to look like I have something that I don't even understand. There's a lot of dynamics as to why somebody would isolate. But I want to encourage to those people who are watching and maybe they could be ill, in the event that you have a terminal illness or you have a prolonged illness, it does not just affect who you are as a person, it also affects the people around you. So it's for you to question yourself and ask yourself, this self-isolation that I am doing, how is it affecting me and how is it affecting the people around me? So you'll find that if we keep insisting that it's really good for you to have a support system, especially when you're feeling ill. But if you self-isolate, that means you're not allowing yourself to get that support. It could be that somebody knows something that you could do, something information about the disease, just as Val had mentioned. It could be that somebody went through the same thing and they did a couple of things and it worked out for them. But once you self-isolate, you deny yourself that chance. Also, the moment you also self-isolate, you're also denying other people the opportunity to be there for you. So at the end of the day, you lose as a person who's fallen ill, but also your people, they also lose because they don't know how to support you. They don't understand what is happening in your life. So how do we curb this self-isolation? I feel like I would suggest getting that support system hata kama ni mtu mmoja. That's in that if I know that once I show up to Peninah is going to listen, is going to make me feel like I am seen, that I'm not ostracized by society. And then mdogo Peninah atanipeleka out to the park, I'll look at people, maybe talk to a few kids, you know. It starts with a simple step as just talking to somebody, and then that somebody pushes you to talk to other people and all that. Mdogo too. But also, you also need to understand that your illness might also affect other people. You know? So you also have to be very mindful of the people that you interact with, so that you don't put yourself in a space where people will be like, Allah, sasa huyu hana nywele, sasa huyu anakunywa tu maji, huyu ana feed na tube, you know. You also need to be very mindful of the people that you, or the spaces that you go to, so that they don't traumatize you, and then now you justify why you don't usually leave the house. So it's for you to push yourself kidogo, you know. unajipush kidogo, and you also stay very mindful of the interactions you have with other people, and you allow other people to have interactions with yourself.
Okay, I hope we are taking notes. So if you're somebody who is going through an illness, it's good for you not to self-isolate, but to actually open up to people who you feel are closer to you and who can be able to help you out. Yeah. So Valentine, is there still stigma around mental health and in the context of illness? And if there is, how can we be able to break this stigma?
Okay. I believe, the stigma still is there. Maybe not as much as it used to be. And this is because a lot of people are doing campaigns on mental awareness, and this has really brought a lot of people into the knowledge that indeed mental illness do exist, and that if you are struggling with your mental illness, there are places where you can get help, and it does not mean that it's a death sentence, that your life is over.
Yeah.
So from that, the person who is struggling even doesn't get to stigmatize themselves and feel like, now my life is over, there is nothing that I can do, I cannot go to work, I cannot do anything that is constructive with my life. So a lot of the things that we are doing is really helping the people in the community, but still I feel like a lot of work has not been done, because there are some people who are still stigmatizing. They're still stigmatizing people who are struggling with the mental illness, and this is because they are not aware of what mental illness is all about. So I believe by what we are doing, going to the community, even holding discussions like this show, a lot of people will be reached out with the correct information. And now from this, the stigma towards people struggling with mental illness will really reduce. And we've even seen how the media has played a very big role in ensuring that this stigma is reduced.
Yeah.
We've even seen people coming out clearly saying that they are struggling in their mental well-being, and they're even encouraging people. They're telling them that it is okay. These days, the slogan it's okay not to be okay. That is what everybody is talking about, understanding that sometimes you cannot be okay. It's okay. You don't have to stress yourself too much and try and live the way, the world that we live. People want to see like we are doing perfectly. So even if we are struggling, even if you are struggling, you don't want to show that you are struggling. And most of the time, I think I use this even when I'm teaching. When you go to class and ask students, how are you today? People will say they are fine. I believe we say we are fine because we were taught we are fine, because the answer to how are you is I am fine.
Yeah.
And yet even in the real sense, you are not doing well. So people, because of what you are taught, sometimes you might find that, okay, somebody says they are fine, but in the real sense they're struggling. So it's good to be honest about your feeling, share your feeling and say, I am feeling this way, but I believe I'll be okay. Yeah.
Okay. I like the fact that you've said that when we're not okay, it's good to actually say it. Yeah. Because most times, even when you call your friends, even right now, and you say, hello, how are you doing? Everyone will be like, I'm fine, thank you, I'm okay. But deep down, they know they're not doing fine. They're really struggling, yeah? So it's important for us to be open enough, yeah? You can be able, if you're called by somebody and it's somebody you trust, feel free to just tell them, hey, is kipoa. Now, at this point, I'm not okay. As Valentine started, I am not okay. Yeah, it's important sometimes to just say that so that people can also understand where you are at that moment. So that mtu asikuwa anakupigia kuvent and then you're not also okay. You can imagine how it will be stress will still be on you, right? If they call and say, okay, you're not okay, no problem, I'll call you later. Yeah, we'll talk about this later. How are you even doing in truth and what's up? Yeah. So let's be people to check up on our friends, to also be able to stand there and help, be a support system for our friends. If you know of your friend has somebody who is struggling with a mental or a physical illness, it's okay for you to just tell them, leo acha nikusaidia kufanya hii kazi. You know, it's through this little help that go an extra mile. Yeah. So thank you so much, guys, for coming and helping us discuss the conversation on mental health and illnesses, the chronic illnesses and all. And I hope all of us have been able to learn a thing or two when it comes to this conversation. So asanteni sana, yeah?
Thank you.
To everyone who has made this show a success, thank you so much, Elias, for the good work you're doing, for being the director and also the camera person. Asante sana for the work you're doing. For everyone who has been watching the Younib Breakfast Show, to our viewers, and everyone who every single day you make sure that you are always tuned into Younib TV. Asante sana for always keeping us number one in your list. Yeah. So until next time, do have yourself a blessed day ahead. Goodbye.